Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Zesty Thoughts with your host, Anabla. Welcome to episode 60. I'm repping my team, y'all. Dodgers. Otani, all I have to say is all hail Japan. All hail Japan. That man is a freak of nature. We are so lucky and so blessed to have him. That game was insane, y'all. I was like watching it low-key watching it on the clock a little bit, like in between lessons, kind of swiping to the next window, checking the score, you feel me? But anyway, I'm so excited for the World Series. We're gonna go for a twofer, y'all. It's gonna happen. The twofer will happen. Anyway, I hope y'all have had a nice week. I've had a pretty chill week myself. I have lots of reviews this week and some like random shit that I've been up to. So, first off, I'm going to just start off strong. It's Halla month. You feel me? The whole month of October, I'm watching a horror film every day. So I have 7 more films to review. This week, I tried to go through some older ones, so I have some interesting commentary there. The first movie that I watched was called The Wild. Conceptually, I liked this. As I've said before in previous episodes, things in the woods scare the shit out of me. I get really freaked out by anything that's like in nature, in the woods, like cabin vibes, you feel me? So in retrospect, this was like camping. It was, I was hopeful going into this that I'd be a little spooked. It was okay. I give it a 5 out of 10. I don't know what I really expected. There were some like good kind of twists in it, but also like it was like a mystery regarding someone's death. And it was like there weren't really many options to choose from. So you could easily foresee it being any of the people, any of the characters. That's all I'm going to say. It was okay. 5 out of 10. The next movie I watched is an oldie. It's called Black Christmas. This I have heard great things about. I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. I really did enjoy it. I thought the acting was great. Storyline I thought was really interesting. It was very suspenseful. For it being an older film, I was really on the edge of my seat. So like, I feel like it did a great job of like creating that kind of like nervousness, I don't really want to say any more about it because I don't want to give anything away. But if you haven't seen Black Christmas, I would recommend watching it. I thought it was really good. The next film that I watched was called The Village. I feel like I had seen bits and pieces, like clips of when my dad was watching this before, but I never watched the whole film. So I had heard, rave reviews about it and I really, really wanted to watch it. That was like on my list of films that I like had to watch for this month. And I was very, very pleased with this. I gave it a 9 out of 10, maybe 9.5 out of 10. I really, really liked it. I love Joaquin Phoenix. The cast was amazing. Acting was great. And this definitely like had me on my toes, a little spooked, a little nervous the whole time. I just feel like it was an amazing storyline. And yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about it. It was great. That's another one this week that I would recommend, The Village. The next film that I watched, I actually went on TikTok and like tried to find people's recommendations. Because there's a lot of people posting right now about like movies to watch for the month of October. And I now regret that. Someone posted about both of these films, The Deep House and Honeydew. So the first one I watched was The Deep House. I think in retrospect, this movie conceptually is really interesting. I feel like it could have been better. I don't know. I just don't know if it was like pulled off, like considering the concept of it. It's about like an abandoned house underwater that's like preserved in France, I think. I forget. Anyway, so conceptually, like the idea of this, like just reading the description and watching the trailer, I was like, oh, this is gonna be good. And I feel like it kind of didn't like meet my expectations. I don't know. I gave it a 4.5 out of 10. I couldn't even really give it a 5, so that's where it landed. I thought there were some moments that were kind of suspenseful, some moments that were kind of getting my heart rate up, that had me intrigued, but I don't know. There was just something that was like not hitting the mark for me. So I don't know that I would like recommend someone watch this. So I'm kind of annoyed that someone recommended me to watch it regardless. And then the second film that I watched per this person's recommendation, this random stranger's recommendation on TikTok, I watched Honeydew. This was better, also fucked up conceptually, but something about it just missed the mark. I don't know what it is about films having really good concepts and then just having like really shitty endings, and like the concept and like the storyline not really being resolved in like the most satisfying way. This was better. It was definitely freaky, like a little more like off-putting, I guess. That's why I gave it a 5.5. But yeah, something about this just really missed the mark. The one thing I will give it points for was the sound design. There was some really wicked, like, I don't want to give it too much away, but like very wicked, like vocal sound design, like grunts and like weird things that were very consistent. It was like thematic in the movie. That is probably one of the only things that to me is pushing that number higher as far as my rating goes. I don't know. This one, I guess maybe I would recommend it, but I don't know. The ending was just annoying to me and it kind of confusing, and to me it just wasn't very clear, the ending. After I like watched it, I like literally looked up like explanations because I was like, did I miss something? Like what? But it was okay. So I guess I would maybe recommend it. I want to hear like other people's opinions on this movie, honestly, because like maybe I just missed the mark. I don't know. Maybe I missed something. The next film I watched was a new one with Natalie Portman. I thought it was in the horror category, so I feel bad. I kind of like cheated with this one. Technically, it's more of like a thriller, action thriller. It was good. So my bad for it technically not being a horror, but it was The Woman in Cabin 10. I did like this. I gave it a 7. I don't know. I was in between like a 7 and an 8 out of 10. It was definitely a nail biter, massive rage bait. So like that part of it was like, but that's what's keeping it from like being rated higher, because it was just like so annoying. No, I liked it. Conceptually, it was really good. The ending was very satisfying. Very, very, very satisfying. So for that reason, I think I'm gonna settle on 7 out of 10. Maybe even 6.5 out of 10. I'm changing my mind right now as I'm like thinking about how it was. I'll say 6.5 out of 10. Ending was very satisfying, so I'm going to give it that. Natalie Portman, love her. She kills it every time. She can't go wrong. She can't do wrong. She's an impeccable artist, so I liked it. I guess you should watch it, but yeah, ending satisfying, so I think you'll enjoy it. Last film that I watched last night that was just a lot. It was very long, but I did give it a 7.5 out of 10. Jacob's Ladder. That's another oldie. I did really enjoy that, overall. There were like moments of it that I was like, oh, it's kind of like dragged out. It's a little long. I feel like there's some like old films like that just like throw kind of a lot of fluff in there. And I feel like there were just like a lot of scenes that I was like, what is, can we just maybe it's just my attention span and my need for like instant gratification and short form content, I guess. But yeah, there were some moments in this where I was like, okay, kind of like get to the point. But conceptually, like the storyline and the kind of twist at the end, once you realize the reality of, the essence of the film and what's going on in the film. Like I said, I don't want to spoil it. It's really, really good. So I guess I gave it like a 7.5. Maybe I'll give it an 8 out of 10, because I feel like it was a very interesting takeaway. It made me think. So I'll give it an 8 out of 10. I would recommend you watch that one, Jacob's Ladder. Next segment of the pod, I just wanted to go on a short rant right now because I have been knee deep. I'm talking knee deep, waist deep, armpit deep in AI cat gym videos all week. I think I watched one. I didn't even interact with it the first time. I think I just watched it. And now my feed is full of AI cat videos. cats in the gym. So I'm going to try to download one from TikTok. Hopefully I can, and post it here because it's literally, I don't know how else to describe it, but for you to see what I'm talking about. Basically, they're AI cat videos of all of them that I've seen so far have been like an orange cat, this orange cat. The first one I saw was like doing lap pull downs and just screaming in agony and meowing and screaming, like working till failure basically. And then there's like a human trainer next to it being like, you got this, you could do it, like literally like encouraging it to like finish the set. And I just love them so much. I think they're really funny. I find a lot of humor in them. I just like love anything cats, and just the concept of like a cat lifting weights to me is peak humor. I don't know what else to say about it. I'm very mixed about consuming and being enthralled by and interacting with AI content. I did have a phase where I was very enamored by the like fruit cutting, the glass fruit cutting videos. Those were great. I will not lie. So, there have been some AI things circulating that I will not lie, I'll fully admit. Yeah, I'm into, but these ones just hit different. I'm not gonna lie. Just like the cats that were like diving, there were like AI videos of cats jumping off of diving boards, like doing like professional, like diving, like Olympic diving. Those were really funny. I know there were dog ones going around of the same thing, but they're just going to hit every time. And I just think they're funny. So I don't know. Anyway. All right, everybody. On the topic of horror, because it is October, I finally finished watching the Ed Gein Story, the monster television show. And I wanted to gab about it a little bit because it was a lot. Ryan Murphy stays doing the most. I'm going to just preface with that. This, right off the bat, the show was a hard watch. Let's just put it there. The first episode, toward the tail end, I had a really hard time, like actually sitting in front of the TV watching this. I did have to walk away and like kind of, shield myself a little bit from the shit that was happening on screen. So yeah, there are some really sick and twisted moments in the show. Obviously crazy because they were like mostly rooted in reality. As I watch more of the monster series just as a whole, I've watched every like season, quote unquote, regarding like the different murderers and like criminals. I'm beginning to get a little bit annoyed by how many liberties Ryan Murphy is taking with kind of fictionalizing. And now I know with this specific story, there is less like content of Ed Gein as a whole that exists, considering like the time that it was, versus like the Lyle and Eric Menendez story. Like there's a lot of content on them. Like their trial was televised. Like there are very clear resources to like study from and work off of. So I feel like there were ways that like they could have made that. I'm realizing now there are probably ways that they could have made that a little bit more accurate and like less dramatized. Although I guess that's not good television. I don't know. But I will say that is kind of like annoying. The amount of things in the Ed Gein story that were fictionalized, that were just like straight up made up to like add to whatever message, I guess you could have taken away from this. I know that there are lots of themes in the final few episodes regarding like mental health. I think it's important to touch on because nowadays we have a little bit more context for maybe why people behave in certain ways. And, now we have like the medicine and the resources to actually maybe prevent these type of people that are like severely mentally ill. We have ways to help them and hopefully prevent them from getting to the point, for example, that Ed Gein got to. But all that to say, yeah, I feel like there were just certain aspects of it that like, I was like, oh, did he really do that? You know, I found myself like Googling, did this really happen? Did he really do this? And like, there were a lot of things that were just not even true, which kind of was annoying. I mean, the freaky shit, the shit that was fucked up that he did do, that was in the show, that was in there. You know, they did not, withhold any of like the real horrors that he did. I'm just talking about kind of like the additional things, that were either speculated or I don't know. You know what I mean? Kind of like alluded to, that maybe were not ever proven or like factual. Those kinds of things kind of annoyed me. But I will say I do respect Ryan Murphy's ability to kind of like humanize these people. Because at the end of the day, they are humans and, you know, they made horrible decisions. Like, I guess all in all, just like people that commit like heinous crimes like this, they're humans. 9 times out of 10, they're like severely mentally ill as a result of whatever could be just like literally chemical imbalance, mental illness that's like they were just born with. It could be as a result of like abuse, trauma. In this instance, it was like, once again, we're tying back into like the religious psychosis that we were kind of talking about in the previous episode regarding Saint Maud, that film. But yeah, I mean, this was like religious abuse and like kind of, you know, very, very dark environment and oppressive environment that he grew up in. I appreciate Ryan Murphy's ability to tie in that aspect, and to kind of humanize these people. I guess like obviously that in no way, shape or form like excuses people from doing these things, but I guess it just provides a more clear point of view and like a level of understanding in which I think is important for society to have in order to like prevent these types of people from like doing these types of things. You know what I mean? I guess education is important. Like I will say that with my chest regarding literally any subject. And I think this is like the perfect example of like taking entertainment and television and being able to teach the audience to an extent something about life or humanity. So I do think like that aspect, I guess, is like important. I appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, it was really fucked up. Like I said, it was hard to watch. It really made me think a lot about like extremism regarding like his mom's character and kind of like extreme religious nature. And, you know, it really kind of made me reflect on the world that we're living in now and how dangerous and insidious extremism is, and how it can really impact people on like such a deep spiritual level. Obviously the extremists themselves, but then also the people around them, the people that they interact with, their own families. I guess it's just further proof to me, stories like this, that life is really all about balance and yin and yang, you feel me? I really just fall back on that so much as I mature in life and I look at most situations, or at least I attempt to look at most situations from that perspective, that obviously not everything is so black and white, and it kind of shouldn't be. Oftentimes trying to fit something in such an extreme box is not like natural. It's not human. And I think that when we attempt that, or when we fall back on that out of like laziness or out of fear or in cowardice, that that can lead to like the darkest sides of humanity. And I think that's something that kind of like our ability to discern that gray area and find that gray area is something that I think is like innately human, that sets us apart from other animals and other living beings. Not that they do not have the ability to discern that gray area, but in the wild, it's not always, they don't always have the privilege to do that. It is more black and white. It is more life or death. So I don't know. It just got me thinking a lot about that and just like philosophy and thinking about stuff like that's like very interesting to me. I think it like explains a lot of human behavior, explains a lot of what we're dealing with now and what we're kind of going through now, these growing pains and these waves of kind of like evolution and repression and need. It's like this need for growth and this need for progressive movement as a society, and the pushback that we're getting, So anyway, I just think it's interesting to think about, and man, it really got me thinking. Now there was some fucked up shit in there that I'm going to try to just block out, pretend didn't happen, pretending the nipple belt. Yeah, I'm just going to block that out. I'm going to block that straight out of my mind. I don't want a memory of that. No, thank you. No, thank you. But yeah, no, I think this story is very, very interesting. I would say one other thing that kind of like annoys me regarding like these exaggerations and fictionalizations, like the fact that really that many criminals were like so severely inspired by Ed Gein. I don't know. I feel like that aspect of it was just kind of like, really? I mean, maybe there were people out there in generations that followed him that were like, this man did this, which means I can do it. But this, the scene at the end when he died with all the criminals, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. It would not be a Ryan Murphy show without like a little musical dance number, you know? He did make Glee after all. He did make Glee. But yeah, that was a little like, really, you had to go there. But no, all in all, I think I enjoyed this show. I would like highly recommend people watch it. And if you could take it as an opportunity to like maybe have some like psychological like analysis, and like maybe learn something about yourself or learn something about your biases or learn something about your opinions and, your point of view regarding crime and mental health and all of those things. I think that's another reason why a lot of young people are super into, or just like people in general, not even just young people, are super into crime television and crime films, like learning about criminals, because you sit there and you're like, wow, like, I mean, we all have intrusive thoughts, but like that's on another level, that thought to begin with, and then like the fact that you even acted on it is insane, like that is really, something's wrong with you. And like obviously there are plenty of people that have mental illness that don't do stuff like that. So, it's very interesting to kind of analyze and question, like, what is it that creates that breaking point where like you go from any normal human being that has intrusive thoughts that may have mental illness paired with it to like actually acting on those things. It's very interesting. And yeah, I think you'll enjoy the show as a whole. I will just say that there are some articles online that are discussing like the things in the show that were accurate versus the things that were like fictionalized and made up. I would suggest, as things are kind of happening in the show, you do some research, Google some of the events in the show to, check their accuracy, I guess. Or their validity. If you look up a whole list, you're probably going to be like spoiled to a lot of the things. So I would maybe not do that. But, trust me, shit will happen and you will question your whole existence. Half of the show is sitting there going, did a human being actually do this? Like, yeah, I would recommend watching it for sure. Okay, on to a lighter notes. I have an album review for you all. I don't know about you, but I'm super into ambient music. I have an entire playlist. It's like a meditation playlist. It's giving spa. It's giving, like sleepy time. I have a lot of like chanting, like there's like Gregorian chant. There's like some flute instrumental music. I have some classical music in there and a lot of just like ambient instrumental music. And it's totally the vibe. So I'll put the link in the bio. I'm hyping up this playlist, you guys, because every time I talk about it, I hype it up because I really do stand by it. And I hope that other people out there can put it on rotation and also enjoy it. Because it really just centers me and calms me down. You feel me? The artist name is Madeleine Cocola. I think that's how it's pronounced. Don't smite me if I'm wrong. But anyway, this project is amazing. It's ambient. The album is called Syndesis. It is a 6-track project. Just came out in 2025. And it's amazing. It's super relaxing. It just gets you into like a great like Zen flow present state. So I highly recommend putting it in your rotation. A little about this artist. Madeleine is an Australian composer, producer, and researcher based in Japan. Currently in Tokyo, she is a PhD candidate at the Queensland Conservatorium Griffith University, where she's researching the nexus between music, place, and memories through the use of field recordings in the creation of new music. Huh? That's so sick. I'm literally going to follow her. And honestly, I sense that. I sense that energy when I listen to this project. So I hope y'all can go listen to it. I'm going to put the link, the Spotify and like Apple Music links in the bio. Go check it out. Go check out my meditation playlist. I have a gig tomorrow, y'all. Well, by the time this is out, it will be yesterday. But I'm so excited. I'm gonna sing some new songs live downtown. Anyway, drop horror film recommendations. I have 8 or 9 more days of horror films. So if you're like, you gotta watch this, girl, if you have like the rec of the year, please drop it in the comments. If you're enjoying the show, please leave a review, rate 5 stars. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel, comment below, like this video if you enjoyed it. Follow our pod Instagram, follow my personal TikTok because I do not have a TikTok for the pod. And give us a follow, y'all. I hope that you enjoyed this week's episode. Have a wonderful weekend. I know that like the Halloween festivities and parties are going to be starting this weekend because it's the Halloween weekend leading up to Halloween. So everybody please have fun, be safe, enjoy your weekend, and have a nice week. And I will see you next week. Bye.